Chapter 31:14. Half a month later, a terrifying creature with a majestic aura and a length of about 300 kilometers shuttled through the Milky Way. Above this terrifying creature was a palace that occupied an area of 100 kilometers. An incomparably huge flag floated in the air. On the flag were the words "Dragon Palace's War Pet." He shuttled through the Milky Way, looking awe-inspiring from afar. Just hurry up and sell the battle pets. The most important thing is the auction in a month. At this moment, in the palace above the horrifying creature, Wuxia spoke to the sky array with a smile. It had been half a month since the battle pets of the Immortal Palace announced that they were going to fight. Today was the day the battle pets were on sale. In order to enhance the mysteriousness and powerful aura of the battle pets of the Immortal Palace, Wuxia and the rest sent Xiaolan over. Currently, Xiaolan already possessed the power of a peak emperor god. His body had reached a length of 300 kilometers. It was an absolutely terrifying colossus, using Little Blue to replace the ship. What is that thing? It's so terrifying. Hiss, it's a colossal star beast, a colossal star beast. What a terrifying aura. Look at the flag above the giant beast of the starry sky. That's the temperament of the battle pets of the Immortal Palace. My gosh. The battle pets of the Immortal Palace have used the giant beast of the starry sky as a ship. It's too strong. Which faction do they belong to? It's too mysterious and too terrifying. When they arrived at the edge of the Milky Way, countless people felt a wild aura rushing over. When they saw Xiaolan, who was half submerged in the water, they were shocked. A group of people had gathered in front of the Wangying continent. They were clearly floating in the void, each representing their own forces. Mist 1 meter, 9 swords, dragon descendant, water shadow skeleton, more than 10 elementary races in the universe. The rest were all domain-level races. Some of the weaker domain-level races, and races, didn't even have the right to come here. When the group of experts saw the giant starry sky beast swimming over, their eyes were filled with shock. This battle pet of the Immortal Palace is really not simple. It actually has such a terrifying void beast. Impressive, impressive. I wonder which force they are from. To be able to sell a peak stage Emperor God battle pet like that. They are definitely not from an ordinary elementary race in the universe. The experts of the various forces stared ahead with a look of shock in their eyes. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Immortal Palace's battle pets. On Xiaolan's body, the voice of the heavenly formation was transmitted into their minds. The hearts of the experts of the various forces trembled slightly. Universe Sovereign. Just from the voice alone, they could determine that this was a universe supremacy. Especially since the other party did not conceal his aura at all. Go! The group of experts looked at each other and immediately flew towards the palace on Xiaolan's body. There are some pieces of paper in the air. Each of you can take one. Only those who are qualified can buy battle pets. The group had just flown to a square in front of the palace when the voice of the heavenly formation sounded again. Everyone was slightly taken aback and could not help but feel somewhat astonished. This method was simply too childish. However, the battle pets of the Immortal Palace had already set the rules, so they didn't dare to say anything. Each of them took a slip of paper. Buzz! At this time Tianjin walked out. He walked out in a very strange manner. It had 2 heads and a 9-colored robe draped over its body. Seeing the appearance of the heavenly formation, the experts of the various forces were slightly shocked. 2-headed creatures were relatively rare in the universe. They looked at each other, not knowing which race the sky formation belonged to. I am now qualified to buy a peak stage Emperor God battle pet. I am qualified to buy an 8th stage Emperor God battle pet. At this moment many excited voices were heard. Those who are qualified can buy it directly later. This time, the reason why I called everyone here is not to sell the battle pets. There is another matter to announce. Tianjin looked around and said calmly, "Ha." Hearing his words, everyone's faces revealed a bewildered expression. Using 6 peak stage Emperor God battle pets as a lure to gather all the forces here just to announce one thing? Moreover, looking at the battle pets of the Immortal Palace, it was obvious that they did not care about the 6 peak stage Emperor God battle pets. What were they trying to do? The experts of the various forces looked at Tianjin in shock, waiting for him to continue. 2 months later, the battle pets of the Immortal Palace will be holding an auction. Currently, we will be selling a rank 1 universe venerable battle pet. As for the number of peak stage Emperor God battle pets, we have not decided yet. Other than that, the battle pets of the Immortal Palace will also be working together. If there are any treasures to be auctioned, you can contact us. 2 months later, the battle pets of the Immortal Palace will be holding an auction that will shake the entire galaxy. Tianjin said calmly. At the side, everyone was stunned. They opened their mouths wide. Venerable battle pet? An expert from a beginner race of the universe could not help but exclaim. His face was filled with astonishment and shock. The beginner race of the Water Mountain universe only had 1 universe venerable. Yet the battle pets of the Immortal Palace were selling venerable battle pets directly. That was too crazy. Venerable battle pets were the pinnacle existences in the entire galaxy. Having a venerable battle pet meant that a beginner race of the universe could be born. One could imagine how shocked they were that such an existence was being put up for sale. Even the descendants of the Mist Dragon race, which was a relatively stronger beginner race of the universe, were filled with shock. No matter how strong their race was, the number of universe venerables was only a single digit. Even so, it was the accumulation of billions of years. Yet the battle pets of the Immortal Palace were selling venerable battle pets directly. They were speechless from shock. As for the exact treasures, we will announce it on the artificial intelligence of the Milky Way. By then, all of you just have to pay attention to it. Tianjin said with a smile. His gaze swept across the shocked crowd, and he was very satisfied. Those who are qualified to purchase, please follow me to the back. As he said that, he walked straight to the back. Those who were qualified to purchase the battle pets immediately went over. What's the background of the battle pets of the Dragon Palace? They are even selling venerable battle pets. Only a rank 3 universe venerable would be able to tame a battle pet of this level, right? Are they from a middle-level race of the universe? That's too powerful. That's crazy. I wonder how crazy it will be when a venerable battle pet is auctioned. It's not crazy. Only a few forces can afford a venerable battle pet. That's hard to say. This is a venerable battle pet. Some weaker beginner races of the universe will probably go all out for it. Seeing Tianjin lead the group of people to the back, the group of people at the back discussed in shock. Chapter 31:15. This is crazy. 2 months from now, the Immortal Palace War Pets will be holding a grand auction. They will be auctioning a supremacy-level war pet. When Wang Xian and the rest left, the universe AI sent a message that stirred the entire Milky Way. What did a supremacy-level war pet mean? Now, anyone who saw a supremacy would have to respectfully address them as Lord Supremacy. Even a core disciple of a primary race would have to address a supremacy from another primary race as Lord Supremacy. That was because a supremacy was considered an expert in the universe. Now that the Immortal Palace War Pets was auctioning a supremacy-level war pet, one could imagine how many people would be shocked. Not to mention the ordinary experts. Even the supremacies from the various primary races were shocked when they heard the news. A supremacy was the stabilizing force of a race. A supremacy was extremely powerful and difficult to kill. Just like in the Milky Way, the powerful primary races in the Fog universe might not be willing to offend a primary race like Shan, who only had 1 supremacy. This was just like the nuclear weapons on Earth. If a weak country possessed such nuclear weapons, it would be enough to make the stronger countries wary. It was the same for supremacies. If a supremacy with a long history and terrifying strength was really pushed to the edge, no force could stand it if he kept thinking about the disciples of your race. Not even the powerful sorcerer race. Take the blaze turtle-winged beast for example. If it hid, a supremacy-level array would not be able to locate it. The reason why Wang Xian could suppress it was mainly because he knew where it was, and he had the powerful spiritual energy of the crescent moon in the sky. If the blaze turtle-winged beast could escape tens of billions of light years away, Wang Xian would not be able to suppress it. The entire Milky Way was in an uproar. because of the Immortal Palace War Pets sale of Supremacy level War Pets. In these 2 months, I'll try to capture more peak God Emperor War Pets. At the same time, Wang Xian had returned to the Dragon Palace. He did not stop and led the sky array towards the Milky Way, to the island on the sea. The island on the sea was the land of the divine kingdom of the Gemini God Emperor. Wang Xian had been there once and obtained the postnatal sword scar. The area of the island on the sea was larger than the volcanic domain, and there were rumors of powerful supremacy wild beasts. And it wasn't even a level 1 universe venerable beast. Wang Xian wanted to suppress another wilderness beast at the level of a universe venerable. However, he had to act within his means. Within the Milky Way, there were still many existences that he could not afford to offend. Heading to the lone island on the sea was merely to tame some peak stage God Emperor desolate beasts. Wang Xian and Tianjin were fast. One day later, they arrived at the isolated island on the sea. The last time they came, they didn't go deep inside. This time, with the crescent moon illuminating the sky's spiritual treasure, it was much more convenient. Moreover, Wang Xian was also waiting for news. Dragon King, I can sense great terror ahead. The two of them hovered in front of the lone island in the sea. Tianjin looked ahead as his eyes flickered. Yes, there is a powerful existence here. Wang Xian nodded his head. Buzz! At this time, a civil servant of the Dragon Palace sent him some information about the isolated island in the sea. While Wang Xian was dealing with the matters here, Aosia had already entered the Crescent Moon secret realm with the Crescent Moon key and a group of civil officials. In addition to the large number of treasures in the Crescent Moon mystic realm, there was also something else that was extremely precious. The books on the 4th floor. The books on the 4th floor recorded all sorts of information about the Milky Way. All of them were left behind by the Crescent Moon Venerable. There were records about various forces and places in the Milky Way. The civil officials of the Dragon Palace sent him information about the isolated island on the sea. Indeed, according to the records of the Crescent Moon Venerable, there is a rank 2 universe venerable desolate beast on the island. It is extremely powerful and is called Silver Qilin. On the island, it is best not to kill the descendants of Silver Qilin. Wang Xian looked at the information and said to Tianjin, Rank 2 universe venerable? Tianjin's eyes flickered. A desolate beast of such a realm was not something they could deal with. Dragon King, after Aosia and the rest devoured the Crescent Moon Venerable's Cosmos God Nation, they should have the strength of a rank 2 universe venerable, right? He asked Wang Xian, who was beside him. Yes, according to the information sent by Aosia, they should be able to help 3 or 4 devouring dragons reach rank 2 universe venerable. However, this might take some time, and it is not a short period of time. The Cosmos God Nation of a rank 3 universe venerable isn't that easy to devour, especially when they are still not strong enough. Wang Xian said, the Cosmos God Nation of the Crescent Moon Venerable was indeed a huge resource for the devouring dragons. However, it would take a long time to digest it. Other than the Silver Qilin desolate beast, the rest of the desolate beasts can be killed. Let me take a look first. As Wang Xian spoke, he waved his arm, and the crescent moon hovered in the sky. A beam of light shrouded the area ahead. Soon, images began to appear in their line of sight. This support-type acquired spiritual treasure is really powerful. Tianjin's eyes shone as he looked at the information that appeared gradually. It's really insane. Wang Xian nodded. He looked at the desolate beasts within a radius of tens of billions of kilometers, and flew over immediately, following which their taming was very easy. With the crescent moon shining in the sky, they locked onto the desolate beasts and flew over to suppress them. In less than 10 days, Wang Xian and the rest had obtained 7 peak Emperor God War pets. It's about time to announce the auction items in the Milky Way. 10 days later, they flew out of the island and did not continue to subdue the desolate beasts. The density of the desolate beasts on the island was higher. However, in order to prevent a huge commotion, they did not dare to venture deep into the center. If they provoked the Silver Qilin Cosmos venerable level desolate beast, they could only escape. Moreover, 7 peak Emperor level battle pets were more than enough. 7 peak Emperor God war pets, and a group of battle angels. The total value of all the treasures was too high. Wang Xian was afraid that the forces in the Milky Way would not be able to afford any more. Let's spread the news about these 7 peak Emperor God war pets. In another 10 days we'll give them a big blow. As Wang Xian spoke, he immediately got me Xi and Lu to spread the news. On the Universe AI, when the Immortal Palace war pets updated the auction information, they were shocked when they saw the 7 peak Emperor God war pets being auctioned, even though there were venerable level battle pets. In total, the Immortal Palace war pets had sold more than a dozen peak Emperor God war pets. Until now, the items that the Immortal Palace war pets wanted to auction had yet to be fully displayed. Chapter 31:16. Put up the information on the battle angels. After subduing the 7 peak God Emperor wild beasts, Wang Xian spent close to 10 days taming them. He looked at me Xi and Lu, and said with a smile on his face. At this moment, in the Dragon King Hall of the Volcanic Domain Dragon Palace, there were many battle angels. There were a total of 14,322 of them. The weakest was a 6th Order God Emperor Realm Battle Angel, while the strongest was a Universe Supremacy. Other than these battle angels, there were more than 1,500 divine equipment. The weakest was a 6th Order God Emperor Realm Battle Angel, while the strongest was a peak God Emperor Realm Battle Angel. These were the main items of the Immortal Palace Battle Pet Auction. Once the battle angels were announced, the Nine Swords race would definitely know that he had obtained the treasures of the Crescent Moon Secret Realm. They would also lock onto him. If he used his own identity, or the identity of the Dragon Palace to conduct the auction, he would definitely be besieged by the Nine Swords race, and the Dragon Descendants race. Therefore, he spent so much effort to create a powerful and mysterious Immortal Palace Battle Pet Auction. At least before everyone knew the background of the Immortal Palace Battle Pet Auction, they would not dare to cause trouble or even snatch it. As long as this auction was completed successfully, the Immortal Palace Battle Pet Auction would disappear without a trace. The Dragon Palace would walk to the front. Yes, Dragon King, me Xi and Lu nodded, and immediately put up the information on the battle angels, and over 1,000 divine equipment on the Universe AI. Dragon King, we have categorized all the books in the Crescent Moon Holy Kingdom. These are the information you requested about the various primary races in the Milky Way. At this moment, a civil official walked over and brought over the books respectfully. All right, Wang Xian nodded and placed the books aside. He looked at the civil official and said, "Tell Prime Minister Turtle to make an announcement in the name of the Dragon Palace, after the Immortal Palace Battle Pet Auction is announced. He knows the content." Yes, Dragon King. The civil servants of Dragon Palace nodded respectfully. Wang Xian nodded and picked up the books. Through these books, he could have a detailed understanding of the major races in the Milky Way. Just as Wang Xian was reading the books, a storm swept across the entire Milky Way. More than 10,000 battle angels. The weakest of them are at the 6th Order God Emperor Realm, and there are 9 peak God Emperor Realm battle angels. This Immortal Palace's battle angels about to ascend to the heavens? Is this for real or not? How can this auction be so horrifying? Universe Supremacy level battle angel? Fuck, I can't believe it. Are we going to auction a primary race of the universe? Are my eyes playing tricks on me? What was going on? Where did the battle pets of the Immortal Palace get so many battle angels? This was the first time the Immortal Palace battle pets had announced an auction, and a venerable realm battle pet had popped up. Everyone felt that this was awesome. 10 days ago, he announced the addition of 7 peak stage God Emperor war pets. Everyone cheered in unison. Awesome. Today, everyone swallowed a mouthful of saliva when they saw the addition of the auction items. Was this an auction for a low-level universe race? Everyone found it hard to believe and felt that it was inconceivable. A low-ranked race in the cosmos might have millions of God Emperor Realm disciples. But how many 6th Order God Emperor Realm disciples could there be? 20,000 or 30,000? However, this time, The Immortal Palace battle pets had auctioned more than 14,000 Sixth Order God Emperor Realm disciples and above. This was too terrifying. Soon another piece of news came out. The news came from the Dragon Palace. Everyone was curious about the name Dragon Palace. The Dragon Palace released a piece of news. The Dragon Palace, a primary race of the universe, will officially enter the Milky Way. This time, they will be working with the Immortal Palace battle pets to auction off some treasures. Seeing this information, everyone's faces were filled with shock. Dragon Palace? Those battle angels were obtained by the Dragon Palace? Where did the Dragon Palace come from? How could they take out so many treasures? In an instant, the entire Milky Way was in turmoil. The sudden appearance of a primary race of the universe would have a huge impact on the entire Milky Way, especially since the Dragon Palace didn't look weak. After all, the treasures they were auctioning were too powerful. Dragon Palace, Wuxia, Willow Deity Dojo. At this moment in the Nine Swords tribe, a dozen old men were sitting in a hall. They looked at the information on the smart computer and spoke in a cold voice. When they saw the over 10,000 battle angels, and even the battle angels of the Venerable Realm, their eyes were burning with passion. Back then, the 8 elders of the Nine Swords tribe had also entered. If they hadn't been killed, all the treasures would have belonged to the Nine Swords tribe. This treasure was too huge. It was so huge that even the venerables of the universe were jealous. Wuxia is definitely from the Dragon Palace. If it wasn't for him, all the treasures would have been ours. An old man couldn't help but growl in a low voice. The treasures were too abundant. It's too late to say anything now. Investigate all the information about the Dragon Palace immediately. If there's a chance, annihilate it. In the middle, an old man said with a stern face. Yes, clan leader. That Wuxia is now wanted by the dragon descendants. Moreover, we found a piece of news. The dragon-faced venerable of the dragon descendants seems to have fallen. At the side, an old man holding a giant sword said plainly. Ha! The dragon-faced venerable of the dragon descendants has fallen? Some of the surrounding elders were slightly startled, and their faces were filled with shock. That should be it. Moreover, the dragon descendants are using all their information departments to look for information about the Dragon Palace. I think we can communicate with the dragon descendants. The old man with the giant sword squinted his eyes and said, Sure. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. He has to pay the price for taking away the opportunity of the Nine Swords. The clan leader of the Nine Swords tribe said coldly, I just don't know the background of the battle pets of the Immortal Palace, and how they are related to the Dragon Palace. An old man frowned and said, The battle pets of the Immortal Palace sold the battle pets of the Venerable Realm, which required great strength to suppress. Mysterious and powerful. It didn't matter that the Dragon Palace was cooperating with them. However, the relationship between the Nine Swords tribe and the Nine Swords tribe was better. In that case, they had to be cautious. If the battle pets of the Immortal Palace were pure businessmen, they wouldn't be involved in the conflicts between forces. The old man with the giant sword pondered for a moment and guessed. I hope so. Wuxia Dragon Palace, humph. The group of experts from the Nine Swords tribe snorted coldly with sharp killing intent flickering in their eyes. Get ready. There are so many treasures this time. We have to fight for it, and get our hands on that battle angel of the Venerable Realm, or a battle pet of the Venerable Realm. Chapter 31:17. It had been a month since the Immortal Palace Battle Pets announced the auction. In this month, the Immortal Palace Battle Pets auction had become known to everyone in the Milky Way. All the forces and all the experts were paying attention to this auction. In this month, people could clearly feel that some of the weaker races in the universe were preparing for something. This time there were too many treasures. Venerable battle pets and battle angels were very tempting to the weaker races in the universe. If they could buy one, it would be a huge boost to their strength. The Nine Swords race and the Dragon Descendants race, the two weaker races of the universe, contacted each other and worked together to investigate some matters. The entire Milky Way was in turmoil. There's actually such a grand auction in a small place like the Milky Way. At the same time, tens of thousands of light-years away from the Milky Way. Huge buildings were floating in the void. The entire void was filled with celestial energy. Occasionally cranes would fly. In a palace that was half hidden in the clouds, a group of dozens of middle-aged and old men were leisurely chatting inside. One of the middle-aged men read a message sent by a good friend and revealed a surprised expression. What auction? The Milky Way's strength is average. What good things will there be? An old man beside him asked with a smile. This time, a force called the Immortal Palace Battle Pets is holding an auction that's not simple. They will be selling a Rank 1 Universe Venerable Battle Angel, a Rank 1 Universe Venerable Battle Pet, and a large number of artifacts. TSK. The middle-aged man looked at the message and opened his AI to search. His face was filled with surprise and shock. Universe Venerables were the core experts of any race or force, unless they were from an advanced race or a peak race. This was especially true for the weaker races in the universe. There were strong and weak races in the universe, but even the stronger ones only had less than 1,000 Universe Venerables. The races they belonged to had not reached such a level. A Venerable 1 battle pet and that battle angel? Is it that impressive? The middle-aged man's words attracted the attention of the people around him. They immediately looked over, their eyes filled with shock. Yes, it will be held in a month. It's confirmed. The middle-aged man nodded. Isn't the battle angel the subordinate of the angel race, a peak race? Why would it appear in the Milky Way? Someone asked curiously. Do you know that the death-courting Paragon Crescent Moon actually used a spirit treasure to spy on Paragon Indend? Paragon Indend's father directly blew him up. That Paragon Crescent Moon seems to have obtained a bit of the angel race's fur and created some battle angels. Now, a force called the Dragon Palace has obtained Crescent Moon Venerable's treasure and is working with the Immortal Palace Battle Pets to auction it. That Immortal Palace Battle Pet is a little mysterious. It can actually subdue a Rank 1 Venerable Battle Pet. You guys should search for it yourselves. The middle-aged man said as he looked at the Universe AI. The others opened their Universe AI. This battle angel is good stuff. As long as we have the core, we can control it. It's even more convenient than a battle pet. Should we report this to the master? Report. With our strength, it won't be difficult to take down that battle angel, or even that Rank 1 Universe Venerable Battle Pet. Some middle-aged and old men were chatting. Wang Xian, who was far away in the Milky Way, did not know that the auction of the battle pets of the Immortal Palace had spread to other galaxies. As the auction drew closer, the Dragon Palace began to make some preparations. Considering that there would be quite a number of Universe Venerables attending this auction, Wang Xian pulled Aoxia and the rest over. In these 2 months, Aoxia and his 3 underlings had been devouring Crescent Moon Venerable's Cosmos God Nation. In 2 months, they had advanced to Rank 1 Universe Venerables. 4 Rank 1 Universe Venerables, including Tianjun, made a total of 5. This was enough to intimidate them. Wang Xian did not intend to show himself. He was afraid of being discovered, so he decided to hide behind the scenes. It's about time. Let's head over. There were still 5 hours before the auction. Wang Xian looked at Tianjun, Aoxia and the rest as he spoke. Yes, Dragon King. Tianjun and the rest nodded their heads and flew towards Xiaolan's body. Xiaolan's body was huge enough that it wouldn't feel crowded, even if millions of people stood on it. On Xiaolan's body, the original building was transformed into a humongous auction house. The auction house had 1,000,000 seats, and in the middle was an auction stage. This time, no one else from the Dragon Palace came. Only Wang Xian, Tianjun, Aoxia and the rest were present. With Tianjun and the rest appearing, there shouldn't be much of a problem. Xiaolan sped towards the Silver Wang continent. The flag of the Immortal Palace's battle pets was fluttering in the air. They're here. The Immortal Palace's battle pets are here. It's still that humongous galactic beast. It's still shocking to see it again. I wonder what force is behind the Immortal Palace's battle pets. They're too powerful and mysterious. At this moment, the sea in front of the Silver Wang continent was filled with people. There had never been so many people on this side of the sea. At a glance, there were at least tens of billions of people densely packed together. At the front, More than 10 elementary races occupied the center. In front of each race, there was a universe venerable hovering in the air. Waves of majestic aura filled the surrounding people with shock and fear. This is crazy. Our Milky Way hasn't had such a grand event in hundreds of millions, or even billions of years. After all, there are venerable level battle pets and battle angels in this auction. All the elementary races in our Milky Way are here. There are about 20 universe venerables. That's about right. I wonder if we, the domain level races, can get some soup. At the back, the crowd looked at the more than 10 elementary races in the middle and discussed in hushed voices. They're here. I can sense the aura of 5 universe venerables. At this moment, in the middle, the eyes of the venerables from the elementary races shone brightly when they saw the humongous galactic beast moving towards them. They could sense the aura of the galactic beast in front of them, and their eyes narrowed slightly. The Immortal Palace's battle pets are indeed not simple. They sent 5 universe venerables for this auction. If we include the battle angel and the battle pets, there will be 7 of them. The venerables from the elementary races in the universe mumbled. Just a glance was enough to tell how powerful the Immortal Palace's battle pets were. Everyone put away their other thoughts and watched quietly. Chapter 31:18. In this auction for the Immortal Palace battle pet, all the beginner races were aiming for those 2 items. Night level battle angel, night level battle pet. The battle angel could be placed first, the battle pet second. However, there were only 2 treasures. No one was willing to give it up. Even the weaker race like Shangshui Shan, who only had 1 knight. They were going all out. Because as long as they could get it, it would be equivalent to doubling their strength. How could they not go all out? They were even willing to take out everything in their treasury. Hiss, my God. The beginner races of the universe are indeed beginner races. What can we use to go all out against them? When the tens of beginner universe races started to make their moves, the entire auction house was silent. No one was bidding for the other items. Everyone was just looking at it. The price of the night level battle angel was already very high, so high that the domain level races couldn't afford it. However, the beginner races didn't hesitate. All sorts of resources, godstones, treasures were thrown down. The dozens of beginner races were only adding on the price of the battle angel. It was slowly rising. Later on, they added on treasures, pills, god countries and god trees. The auction had already started, but the scene was filled with silent competition. The others held their breaths as they watched this intense battle. They didn't dare to disturb, quietly sitting and watching. After 2 minutes of competition, some of the beginner race's paragons shook their heads. Their faces filled with helplessness. They could only give up. They turned their attention to the battle pet of the venerable one of the universe. Taking a step back, the night level battle pet, to a certain extent, wasn't any weaker than the battle angel. It was just that the battle angel was easy to command. Some beginner races that couldn't hold on started to compete for the night level battle pet. The price was crazily rising too. Even the peak god emperor warriors were watching solemnly. The scene before them was too crazy. This amount of resources was too terrifying. These people are really rich. Ancient painting sect's Lu Shan looked at the crazily rising resources, frowning. Luckily, I brought more treasures this time. He muttered, raising the price again. Seems like that ancient painting sect is determined to get that battle angel. The dense mist race, the dragon descendants race, the 9 swords race, the skeleton race, and a few other powerful races glanced at the ancient painting sect with contemplative expressions. Bring out your race's bottom line. The other races began to place their highest bid. If they couldn't make it, they would try to compete for the venerable one battle pets. One by one, the universe's beginner races raised their prices to their limits, and the resources continued to climb. Haha, I'm rich. At the same time, Wang Xian, who was in Xiaolan's body, saw this scene and his eyes were filled with excitement. He didn't expect these races to be so crazy. Originally, he thought that the resources sold by the Universe Night Level Battle Angel would allow Dragon Palace to gain 10 more Universe Night Level 1 battle members. But with the current resources, they could add at least 12 or 13 people. The main competition was still on the battle angel. The resources sold by the battle pet could at least increase the number of rank 1 universe venerables in the Dragon Palace. All in all, the resources brought to the Dragon Palace by this auction were simply unimaginable. The Dragon Palace could be upgraded by leaps and bounds. That battle angel is going to belong to the ancient painting sect. It seems like they are determined to get it this time, and have made ample preparations. Wang Xian looked over and mumbled to himself, "The battle angel has been won by the ancient painting sect." At this moment, there was a commotion in the auction. The winner of the battle angel had been decided. Next, the venerable level battle pet. The competition for the venerable level battle pet was still very intense. The ancient painting sect didn't make a move, but quietly watched from the side. Not long after, the venerable level battle pet was won by the dragon descendants. We can finally intervene. Seeing that the 2 venerable level treasures have been auctioned off, some domain level peak emperor god experts heaved a sigh of relief. They could finally intervene in the following auctions. The following auctions were even more intense. There were close to 800,000 people participating at the same time. Every battle pet, every battle angel, was the target of countless people's craziness. Don't be fooled by the number of battle angels. There were more than 10,000 of them. But those beginner races in the universe had over 1,000 of them. Especially those beginner races that didn't manage to bid for the venerable level battle angel and battle pet. They could only target those ordinary battle angels. This made Wang Xian calculate. The resources sold by a peak emperor god battle pet and battle angel was enough to increase the combat strength of a rank 1 universe venerable in the Dragon Palace. The crazy auction lasted for 2 hours. 2 hours later, all the items were sold. Some were happy, some were excited. Following which, Wang Xian spent some time changing his appearance and helping some buyers tame their battle pets. The entire auction kept him busy for more than half a month. And on the day the auction ended, the results of the auction caused an uproar in the entire Milky Way. Someone calculated the total value of the items. It was almost comparable to all the assets of a beginner race in the universe. Moreover, it was a strong beginner race in the universe. Crazy. And the biggest beneficiary of this auction wasn't the battle pet of the Immortal Palace, but the Dragon Palace. The name of the Dragon Palace attracted the attention of countless people, and many people were discussing it. Soon, some information about the Dragon Palace was dug out. Some people found out that the Dragon Palace came from the ruins of the Mo Han dynasty. When this news came out, it caused quite a few people to be shocked. More and more information about the Dragon Palace was revealed. For example, the Dragon Palace had pure divine dragons. The Dragon Palace had a large number of subdragons and so on. This surprised everyone. When the development speed of the Dragon Palace was dug out, there was another uproar. Some people speculated that the Dragon Palace might have obtained some inheritance from the divine dragon. All kinds of news were flying around. When Wang Xian saw the various news regarding the Dragon Palace in the Milky Way, he wasn't too surprised. It was only a matter of time before the Dragon Palace was exposed to everyone in the Milky Way. It was just that it had arrived. After digesting this batch of resources, the Dragon Palace can move the main Dragon Palace here. Wang Xian muttered to himself as he returned to the Dragon Palace. Prime Minister Turtle! He shouted, and called Prime Minister Turtle over. Dragon King! Prime Minister Turtle flew over and bowed. Report your harvest this time. Chapter 31:19. Looks like all the forces in the Milky Way are here. Wang Xian hid in Xiaolan's stomach. He looked at the sky in front of him with a smile on his face. He could sense a total of 21 venerables, and at least 2 of them were second-order venerables. 20,000 people are allowed to enter the auction house for each primary race. The rest of you can use your strength or resources to exchange for divine stones and treasures in this auction. Little Lon slowly stopped in front of the silver-gazing continent. The heavenly array floated above the auction house. Its gaze swept over everyone as it spoke in an indifferent voice. At the same time, it waved its arm and an array appeared. This was a simple array that could prevent anyone below the 6th Order God Emperor realm from entering. Those below the 6th Order God Emperor realm had to take out some treasures and pass the array's inspection before they could enter the auction house. Alright, let's go. At the center, a supremacy from the dense fog race responded faintly. With a flash, he led a group of disciples into the auction house. The rest of the venerables led the way and followed closely behind. On the Milky Way's side, even if the dense fog race wasn't ranked first, it would be ranked second. Their strength was publicly acknowledged. Since the dense fog race had no objections, the rest of the races had no objections either. There's actually such a huge restriction for this auction. Those below the 6th Order God Emperor realm, and without sufficient resources are not allowed to enter. In this kind of auction, the lowest price is a 6th Order God Emperor realm divine artifact. Why would they let you in if you don't have the strength and money? What a high standard. Discussions broke out among the crowd when they heard the Sky Array's words. Many of them revealed a disappointed look. With such a high standard, they didn't even have the qualifications to enter. However, some experts and those with money flew in directly. Exclamations could be heard from time to time. Some God Emperor entered. Some powerful God Emperor's daughter entered. Wait. The entire silver-gazing mainland was bustling with activity. Tens of people from the universe's beginner races entered, and hundreds of thousands of experts and tycoons also entered through the formation. Soon 80% of the seats in the auction house were filled. Ha, we're not late, right? At this moment, a whistling sound could be heard. Hearing this voice, the 21 universe supremacies sitting in the auction house focused their eyes and immediately flew up into the sky. An island with an area of a few kilometers flew over at a terrifying speed and floated in the air. More than 20 young men, middle-aged men, and old men flew down from the island. The old man in the lead was fanning himself with a cattail leaf fan. His attire looked somewhat simple and crude. His eyes flickered as he sized up Xiaolan. Tisk. Clicking their tongues, they flew into the auction house. It's Venerable Lu Shan. It's someone from the ancient painting sect. Why are they here? They're so far away from our Milky Way, yet they still managed to rush over. In the auction house, the group of universe venerables looked at the old man and narrowed their eyes. Even the 2nd Order venerable from the dense fog race furrowed his brows with a serious look on his face. Who are they? The ancient painting sect is tens of thousands of light years away from our Milky Way. The ancient painting sect is a sect built by human experts. They're very strong. Although they're classified as a low-level race, they have 30 to 40 universe supremacies, maybe even more. Some of the disciples whispered to each other. 30 to 40 so strong? The old man in the lead is called Venerable Lu Shan. He should be a 2nd Order venerable. The ancient painting sect's strength and foundation is stronger than any other race in our Milky Way. With their arrival, our Milky Way has one more competitor. I didn't expect the Immortal Palace Battle Pet Auction to attract such a force. The pressure from the competition is even greater now. Some experts whispered to each other. There are so many people. The 20-odd people who flew over swept their gazes across the surroundings and landed on a spot below. Give up some space for the experts from the ancient painting sect. The dense fog race's 2nd Order venerable, Firemist Venerable, said faintly. Immediately, a group of people from the dense fog race made way for a better space. Haha, thank you. Everyone from the dense fog race. Venerable Lu Shan laughed heartily as he led the group of disciples to sit down. Among the 20 people, a young man riding on a draconic battle pet was looking around curiously. Around him, the experts from various races were also sizing up the people from the ancient painting sect. In the universe, other than the various races, there were many such powerful sections. Under normal circumstances, such sects belonged to humans. The number of humans in the universe was huge. Experts from other galaxies are here. Wang Xian, who was in Little Blue's body, could see everyone clearly. He could even hear the whispers of everyone. After all, they were in Little Blue's body. However, the more forces there were, the more advantageous it would be for the auction. He glanced at the draconic battle pet that the young disciple from the ancient painting sect was riding and squinted his eyes. After this auction, the Dragon Palace will be doing something. He mumbled to himself as he pondered. Since everyone is here, let's not delay any further. The auction will begin immediately. Tianjin looked around. There were over 800,000 people in the entire auction hall. Without further ado, he waved his arm and displayed all the items. More than 14,000 battle angels. 7 peak emperor god battle pets. 1 universe venerable battle pet. Over 1,000 divine weapons. All of them were displayed in the middle of the screen. Our auction this time is very simple. If anyone is interested in anything, just raise the price. Tianjin said plainly. All the items were displayed at once. Anyone who was interested could raise the price. Every item had a minimum price set. Such an auction? Everyone was taken aback. Subsequently, they squinted their eyes. In such a way, everyone would compete at the same time to maximize the benefits. At this time, no matter which force you were from, or how strong you were, you couldn't compete with others if you didn't have money. Everything depended on whether or not you had divine stones and treasures. Interesting. We will be taking this venerable battle angel. Venerable Lu Shan squinted his eyes. He waved his arm and pointed to the front to increase the price. Let's fight for it then. Venerable Firemist said plainly, and immediately increased the price. This time, many of the weaker races in the universe were aiming for the venerable battle angel. Chapter 3120. Dragon King. Enlai has taken away all the resources from this auction. He has gone to other starry skies to exchange them for elixirs, spirit herbs, and other resources. The heavenly formation is also with him. As for how much we've gained so far, this humble subject does not know. However, I estimate that this time, our Dragon Palace will be able to increase the number of universe supremacies by nearly 40. Prime Minister Turtle said with a smile. Wang Xian nodded as his eyes flickered. How long has it been since they left the Sky of Blazing Darkness array? They had obtained a large number of divine stones from this auction. These divine stones were so bright that they could almost buy all the pills in the Milky Way. In order to prevent any accidents, Prime Minister Turtle ordered Enlai and Tianjin to head to a more prosperous space and exchange their divine stones for pills. Enlai came back not long ago. According to the current situation, they should be back soon. Prime Minister Turtle reported. Wang Xian nodded his head. Dragon King. Coincidentally, speaking of the devil, Tianjin and Enlai arrived at the Dragon King Hall with smiles on their faces. All of it was exchanged for resources. Wang Xian couldn't help but stand up and ask them. Yes, Dragon King. We've already allocated a large amount of resources. Look. As Tianjin spoke, he waved his arm and the jade bottles floated towards Wang Xian. This time we went to 2 nearby galaxies. Those places are more prosperous than the Milky Way. We exchanged all the divine stones for elixirs and spirit herbs. Enlai said with a smile. Very good. Wang Xian nodded his head. As he scanned through the elixir pills and treasures on the jade screens, his eyes were burning with passion. He had no idea how much dragon energy these elixirs could convert. The amount of resources was simply too huge. In particular, there was a jade bottle filled with over 20 universe supremacy-grade pills. This kind of elixir could convert even more majestic dragon energy. It seems that I have improved my strength enough this time. After I improve myself, the remaining resources should be enough for the Dragon Palace to produce many venerables. He murmured, his gaze sweeping the surroundings. I'll absorb all the pills first. It's Dragon King, Prime Minister Turtle, and the rest nodded and retreated. Roar! Wang Xian let out a low roar and transformed into his divine dragon form. A large number of elixir pills entered his stomach and were converted into dragon energy. The dragon energy in his body was growing at a terrifying speed. Ding! Congratulations to host for leveling up and breaking through to the 6th Order Void God Emperor realm. Ding! Congratulations to the host for breaking through to the next level. You have comprehended the nomological power, the demigods and semi-devils. Name, Wang Xian race, Yin Yang 5 elements dragon, 1 with the dragon, rank, 6th Order Void God Emperor, Divine Dragon Transformation 8th Transformation, origin, 0. 1%, 99% required for next breakthrough, magic. Dominate the aquatic creatures. Dominate any aquatic creatures lower than your own level. Devour living things. Devour living things to extract the source. Control of the 5 elements cultivation technique. Divine dragon transformation divine powers. Soul capture, spirit. Attachment nomological divine abilities. Dragon Eye Lock 5 elements Dragon Claw. Yin Yang World Breaker. 8 Glory Dragon Scale. Holy Dragon Shadow. Heavenly Dragon 8 Divisions Dharma Form. 5 elements Grindstone. Dragon Country in the Palm. Dragon Head Descending. 10,000 Mile Dragon Body. Yin Yang Polarity. Yin Yang 5 Elemental Bowl. Divine Dragon Tail Whip. Law of Mastery. Metal, Wood, Water, Fire, Earth, Light. Dark Wind Divine Kingdom. Dragon Palace Own Dragon Palace. Level 9 Dragon Palace members. 1034450. Dozens of minutes later, the notification of the system sounded. Wang Xian was thrilled to have leveled up. He did not stop and continued to swallow the elixirs. He had only swallowed 1/5 of the elixirs. As time passed, the dragon energy in his body increased rapidly. A day later, he opened his eyes and a smile appeared on his face. He checked his attributes and saw that he had accumulated an enormous amount of dragon energy. However, the sum of all the resources was not enough for Wang Xian to level up by 2 levels. The dragon energy in my body should be enough for about 30 members of the Dragon Palace to reach the First Order Universe Venerable Realm. Wang Xian's eyes sparkled. The resources that he had gained this time were too great. Prime Minister Turtle, get all the members of the Dragon Palace to gather in the Dragon Field. Wang Xian shouted as he transmitted his voice to Turtle Deputy. Yes, Dragon King. Prime Minister Turtle answered immediately and ordered. Wang Xian made a move and flew towards the Dragon Field. Dragon King. Soon, all the members of the Dragon Palace gathered in front after receiving the order. Over 1 million members of the Dragon Palace exuded a powerful aura. I will release a large amount of dragon energy in a while. Absorb it. Prime Minister Turtle, discuss with the leaders about the distribution of the dragon energy. Wang Xian looked across all the members of the Dragon Palace and ordered. Yes, Dragon King. Prime Minister Turtle and the leaders of the Dragon Palace answered immediately. Roar. Wang Xian raised his head and roared. A large amount of dragon energy rose above the dragon field. The majestic dragon energy condensed into the shape of a divine dragon. There were more than 30 divine dragons. After absorbing each divine dragon condensed from dragon chi, it could allow the Dragon Palace to give birth to the combat power of a universe supremacy. This SSS. The members of the Dragon Palace stared at the majestic dragon energy passionately as their bodies trembled with excitement. It was especially so for the Fairy Dragon clan, who had just entered the Dragon Palace. They were shocked by the majestic dragon energy. Prime Minister Turtle gathered the leaders and discussed the distribution of the dragon energy. In the end, the Dragon Palace decided to increase the strength of the heavenly formation to the Second Order Universe Venerable Realm. The increase of the heavenly formation would consume 1/4 of the dragon energy. The rest of the Dragon Palace would increase the number of First Order Universe Venerables. Finally, the other members of the Dragon Palace would be upgraded to increase the number of Emperor Gods. After the distribution, the members of the Dragon Palace began to absorb the dragon energy to break through after half an hour. Soon, the majestic and terrifying aura rose continuously in the dragon field as the members of the Dragon Palace began to devour it. Because they could absorb the dragon energy directly, they improved rapidly. In the next 3 days, the members of the Dragon Palace completed their breakthroughs one after another. Wang Xian sat at the front with his divine dragon body, his eyes gleaming. This time, the number of Emperor Gods in the Dragon Palace had reached more than 500,000. The number of Universe Venerables in the Dragon Palace, including him, Heavenly Formation, Aosia and the rest, would reach 26. When Aosia and the rest completely devoured the Crescent Moon Venerable Realm, the Dragon Palace would have 2 more devouring dragons with the combat power of rank 2 Universe Venerables. Greetings, Dragon King. When all the members of the Dragon Palace had broken through, they knelt in front of Wang Xian with excitement. Wang Xian sat at the front with his divine dragon body, which was 10,000 meters long. He swept his gaze across the members of the Dragon Palace and smiled. Get up. Next, we will move the main Dragon Palace to the Milky Way and officially enter the Milky Way. Chapter 31:21. They had officially entered the Milky Way land. For the Dragon Palace, the resources of the Ink Han family were extremely scarce. Only by entering the Milky Way would they be able to develop rapidly. With the current strength of the Dragon Palace, it was completely capable of establishing a foothold in the Milky Way, and even deterring other forces. In the Milky Way, there weren't many who could go against the Dragon Palace. In fact, the Dragon Palace was no longer afraid of the Dragon Descendants race, the Nine Swords race, and the Skeleton race. During this period of time, according to Wang Xian and the others' understanding, and the records in the Crescent Moon Venerable's books, the strongest in the current Milky Way was a level 2 universe venerable. In terms of combat power, the Mist race was stronger because they belonged to the sorcerer lineage. The Mist race had sorcerers that could fight against rank 3 universe venerables. Secondly, the Skeleton race was stronger and more mysterious. According to the Crescent Moon Venerable's guess, they might not be weaker than dense fog. Behind them was the One-Foot race. Although the One-Foot race was very small, their strength was abnormally terrifying. However, with the current strength of the Dragon Palace, they had nothing to fear. Wang Xian wasn't even afraid of the dense fog race. The sorcerers of the dragon lineage were inclined towards array formations. However, Wang Xian specialized in speed, and was a great counter to such sorcerers. Over the next few days, Wang Xian and the rest moved the main Dragon Palace to the volcano region. Announced that our Dragon Palace belongs to the Divine Dragon lineage. All subdragon species can enter our Dragon Palace. Once they enter the Dragon Palace, they will be protected by the Dragon Palace. When the Dragon Palace was transferred to the Milky Way, Wang Xian gave the first order. With the current strength of the Dragon Palace, there was no need to hide. The first thing the Dragon Palace had to do was to announce that the Dragon Palace belonged to the Divine Dragon lineage. Recruit all drakes. In the current universe, there were already Divine Dragon factions of the Divine Dragon lineage, and there were 8 of them. The weakest Divine Dragon lineage faction had the strength of a primary race in the universe. Moreover, it was not a weak existence among the primary races in the universe. The Dragon Palace naturally belonged to the Divine Dragon bloodline, and now possessed the strength of a primary race in the universe. After becoming a primary race in the universe, it meant that this race wasn't that easy to bully. If anyone else wanted to tame a flood dragon as a mount, they would have to consider the consequences. It's Dragon King. Prime Minister Turtle and the others nodded. Now in the Milky Way, everyone had obtained some information about the Dragon Palace. All the forces knew that the Dragon Palace had creatures with the Divine Dragon bloodline. Now, it was just the Dragon Palace directly admitting it. The Dragon Palace is of the Divine Dragon bloodline. Now that it has moved into the Milky Way, anyone with the Divine Dragon bloodline can join the Dragon Palace and receive its protection. Very quickly, on the Universe AI, Dragon Palace posted a message. Moreover, the current location of the Dragon Palace was also revealed. If a flood dragon wanted to join the Dragon Palace, it would naturally need to know the location of the Dragon Palace. When this news was announced, it immediately attracted the attention of the entire Milky Way. Now that the Dragon Palace was famous, it was the focus of attention during this period of time. Now that the Dragon Palace had released such a message, everyone was surprised and shocked. The Dragon Palace is really from the Divine Dragon lineage. In the current universe, including the Dragon Palace, there should be 9 factions from the Divine Dragon lineage, right? I wonder how strong this Dragon Palace is. How many universe supremacies are there? It definitely won't be less. After all, they directly sold the Universe Sage level Battle Angel. According to the information from the ruins of the Ink Han dynasty, the Dragon Palace doesn't seem to be very strong. Within the Milky Way, countless people were discussing. At the same time, within the Dragon Descendants, a few old men were sitting in a hall. As they listened to the information reported by their subordinates, their eyes were filled with coldness. I really didn't expect the Dragon Palace to announce their location and openly accept and protect the flood dragons. The patriarch of the dragon clan said coldly, his face revealing a contemplative look. That Wang Xian should be able to guess that we know he's from the Dragon Palace. Yet, they still announced the location of the Dragon Palace. Is it arrogance? Or confidence? They should have their own trump card. That's why they dared to announce it directly. Otherwise, knowing that they have formed a feud with us and the Nine Swords race, they would be courting death if they still dared to announce their location. They should have something to rely on. If the Dragon Palace really belongs to the Divine Dragon lineage, we really have to be careful. After all, they have inherited the bloodline of the once pinnacle race in the universe. The group of venerables from the dragon descendants frowned as they discussed. Wang Xian belonged to the Dragon Palace. Currently, they didn't know anything about the Dragon Palace. It would be irrational to act rashly. Inform the Nine Swords race and get their venerables to come over. Let's have a good discussion. Although the bloodline of the Divine Dragon is troublesome to deal with, it would be a great opportunity for the dragon descendants if we can eliminate them. The leader of the dragon descendants in the middle said plainly as his eyes glowed with passion. The others around him nodded in agreement. The dragon descendants weren't from the Divine Dragon lineage. The reason why they were called the dragon descendants was that they had mastered a special method to extract and integrate the bloodline of the Divine Dragon. It could strengthen their combat power and bloodline. Divine Dragon lineage. Another flood dragon from the Divine Dragon lineage has risen and established a strong force? I wonder if they are stronger than the Heavenly Dragon clan from our side. On a small flying island in the sky above the Milky Way, a middle-aged man was looking at the information on the universe AI with curiosity. Is the Dragon Palace really from the Divine Dragon lineage? How pure is their bloodline? At the side, a young man riding on a 2-meter-long flood dragon revealed a curious expression. I don't know the details. They have just risen. However, since they can sell so many treasures, they shouldn't be an ordinary primary race in the universe. The middle-aged man shook his head. I wonder if the Dragon Palace's expert's bloodline is as pure as my heavenly halberd dragon horse. The young man said with a smile, Little brat, the heavenly halberd dragon horse you're riding on has a very pure bloodline. The heavenly halberd dragon horse is a powerful dragon species. This is a flood dragon, gifted to our ancient painting sect by the heavenly dragon race. Those heavenly dragon race's bloodline is only SOSO. An old man's voice sounded from the side. Vice sect grandpa. Why don't we make a trip to the Dragon Palace and see if they have any treasures that can raise the heavenly halberd dragon horse's grade? The young man looked at Venerable Lu Shan and said with a smile, The heavenly halberd dragon horse has a 9th order god emperor realm cultivation. It is already very powerful to be able to fight above its realm. If it continues to advance, it will be comparable to a venerable. Venerable Lu Shan said with a smile, I hope that the heavenly halberd dragon horse can advance to the venerable realm as soon as possible. It is rumored that the Dragon Palace has a pure divine dragon bloodline. Why don't we take a look? Who knows, we might be able to gain something from it. The young man said with a face full of anticipation. All right, we can go take a look. Chapter 31:22. In the sky above the Milky Way, a small island was flying rapidly. A dozen middle-aged and old men were sitting on it. A young man riding on a semi-dragon looked around with a hint of arrogance on his face. The flood dragon he was riding on, Sky Halberd Dragon Horse, had a horn like a halberd and was covered in dragon scales. It was full of majesty. In its eyes, there was a tinge of unwillingness. It wasn't an ordinary flood dragon. It had the noble bloodline of the divine dragon flowing in it. Its ancestor was a pinnacle expert in the universe and was once a pure-blooded divine dragon. However, it was given as a gift by other dragon species to others as a mount. The island flew rapidly towards the volcano region. Volcano region, the main Dragon Palace. After the Dragon Palace was moved here and announced in the Milky Way, the members of the Dragon Palace started to transform the surroundings of the volcano region. Firstly, as the future base of the Dragon Palace, it couldn't be so chaotic. It had to be full of majesty and majesty. A group of Dragon Palace venerables moved the volcanoes and created a vast territory. Prime Minister Turtle even ordered the experts of the Dragon Palace to condense the volcanoes into divine dragons. From afar, the divine dragon flaming mountains were filled with grandeur. Sky Formation started to set up arrays around the Dragon Palace. Now that Sky Formation had the strength of a rank 2 universe venerable, he set up all sorts of powerful arrays around the Dragon Palace. Even if a rank 2 universe venerable came here to cause trouble, the arrays would be activated, and he would be killed instantly. After all, after Sky Formation broke through, he could fight against at least 3 existences of the same level. Setting up arrays in his own territory would allow him to unleash even more terrifying strength. The Dragon Palace had more than 20 universe venerables, so it was easy to transform the volcano region. However, Sky Formation would need some time to set up the arrays. To complete it, it would take at least a few months. All the members of the Dragon Palace were filled with excitement. With the Dragon Palace's strength, they would have more confidence. The Dragon Palace should be below. Above the Milky Way volcano region, an island floated. Venerable Lu Shan's sharp eyes stared down as he said faintly, A group of middle-aged and old men watched from the side. Given his strength, he couldn't sense it at all. Crash! As Venerable Lu Shan waved his arm, the entire island fell into the Milky Way and flew downwards rapidly. What a magnificent Dragon Palace! As they rapidly approached the bottom of the Milky Way, the people on the island looked around. Those divine dragons that stretched for tens of thousands of miles, that majestic aura, and the majestic Dragon Palace, which made them filled with amazement. Rumor has it that the divine dragon likes treasures. I wonder if it's true or not, but the heavenly dragon race's domain is also very imposing, even more imposing than this place. A middle-aged man smiled and said, More and more drakes are returning to their ancestry and establishing the divine dragon lineage. Perhaps the divine dragon lineage can return to the pinnacle of the universe. An old man holding a strange zither said with a smile, It's basically impossible to return to the pinnacle of the universe. Which of the current pinnacle races in the universe hasn't experienced numerous eons? It's been a long time since a pinnacle race was born, Venerable Lu Shan said slowly. The people at the side immediately listened respectfully. The current divine dragon clan can only be called the Draconic clan. As Venerable Lu Shan spoke, he looked ahead. Who are you? At this moment, the 2 patrolling Yikshas noticed them and immediately flew over, asking them. Third Order God Emperor, a little weak. The young man riding on the heavenly halberd dragon horse swept a glance at the 2 patrolling Yikshas and commented indifferently. Several middle-aged and old men beside him nodded in agreement. Indeed, they were a little weak, as they only had the strength of a Third Order God Emperor. We are from the ancient painting sect. We are here to pay a visit to the Dragon Palace. Venerable Lu Shan said indifferently. Wait here for a moment, we will go and report. One of the patrolling Yikshas said. In a flash, he flew towards the Dragon Palace at the back. These people from the Dragon Palace are lacking in upbringing. Our deputy sect leader is a universe venerable. Not only did he not show any respect to a universe venerable, he even asked us to wait here. The old man holding the zither frowned and transmitted his voice in displeasure. I heard that they have just advanced to a primary cosmic race. I think they were lucky to obtain the Crescent Moon Venerable's treasures. A middle-aged man replied. Venerable Lu Shan stood on the island and looked at the Dragon Palace in front of him without saying a word. However, when he looked at the Dragon Palace in front of him, a tinge of contempt flashed in his eyes. Based on his senses, he could easily break through the defense of the Dragon Palace. The current Dragon Palace had yet to be upgraded, and could only withstand attacks from those below the Venerable realm. It had no resistance against Venerables. In his heart, Venerable Lu Shan already had a basic judgment of the Dragon Palace. What are the experts from the ancient painting sect doing in the Dragon Palace? Wang Xian raised his eyebrows slightly when he received the report from the members of the Dragon Palace. He moved and headed out immediately. Prime Minister Turtle also followed beside him. Greetings to the ancient painting sect. Apologies for not coming out to welcome you. Wang Xian flew out of the Dragon Palace and looked at the group. His eyes fell on Venerable Lu Shan as he welcomed them with a smile. This is... Venerable Lu Shan looked at Wang Xian with curiosity. Dragon King of the Dragon Palace. Wang Xian cupped his fists and said, Venerable Lu Shan, this way please. He gestured for them to follow and led them to a place at the side. In front of the Dragon Palace, they had specially set up a guest hall. The Dragon King of the Dragon Palace seems to be the one wanted by the dragon descendants. At this time, the young man riding on the heavenly halberd dragon horse suddenly transmitted his voice. Yes, it's true. It seems like the Dragon Palace has a feud with the dragon descendants in the Milky Way. The rest of the middle-aged and old men nodded their heads slightly. Dragon King, you guys are really impressive to have obtained the treasures of Venerable Crescent Moon. Haha, we paid a huge price to get that battle angel. Venerable Lu Shan walked beside Wang Xian and replied politely, I was just lucky. May I know why Venerable Lu Shan and the rest are here at the Dragon Palace? Wang Xian smiled and entered the hall. He gestured to them to take a seat. Nothing too important. We came to the Milky Way to stay here for a few days. Coincidentally, the Dragon Palace announced that they were part of the Divine Dragon lineage. Our ancient painting sect has a good relationship with the Heavenly Dragon clan, which is also part of the Divine Dragon lineage. Therefore, we were curious and wanted to take a look. Venerable Lu Shan chuckled. He had wanted to be polite and say that he wanted to befriend them. However, after hearing Tian's voice transmission, he changed his words. He wasn't here to participate in the fight in the Milky Way. Chapter 31-23, Heavenly Dragon Clan? Upon hearing Venerable Lu Shan's words, Wang Xian pondered. He had learned a little about the Heavenly Dragon Clan recently. This was the closest divine dragon clan to the Dragon Palace. It was rumored to have hundreds of powerful venerable dragon gods. Are you on good terms with the Heavenly Dragon Clan? Wang Xian swept his gaze across the sky dragon mount that the young man was riding with a puzzled look. A clan that treated sky dragons as mounts would be on good terms with the Divine Dragon Clan? Hee. This sky dragon is a gift from the Heavenly Dragon Clan to our ancient painting sect. A sky halberd dragon horse with a strong bloodline. What do you think of this sky dragon, Dragon King? Venerable Lu Shan chuckled and asked. Very strong bloodline. I didn't expect the Heavenly Dragon Clan to fall to this extent. Wang Xian said plainly. Huh. Venerable Lu Shan raised an eyebrow upon hearing Wang Xian. He then smiled and said, I heard that the Dragon Palace has a purebred divine dragon. I wonder if the Dragon King can let us take a look? Our main purpose for coming here is to have an exchange and see if the Dragon Palace has any items that can help the sky dragons improve rapidly. We can exchange them. As he spoke, he looked at the divine dragon statues around him. Forget it. All the divine dragons in the Dragon Palace are our disciples. We don't have any exchanges, and we don't have any treasures that can help the sky dragons improve. Wang Xian shook his head upon hearing his words. What a joke. Let them take a look at a purebred divine dragon? Were they treating the Dragon Palace as a zoo? Were the disciples of the Dragon Palace just for viewing? Wang Xian's rejection stunned Venerable Lu Shan. He shook his head slightly. Several middle-aged and old men frowned slightly at the side, and their faces showed displeasure. It was especially so for that young man, who was staring coldly at Wang Xian. Such a powerful heavenly clan had even sent gifts to their ancient painting sect. Now this puny Dragon Palace wasn't giving them any face at all. However, the sky halberd dragon horse beneath the young man shivered upon hearing Wang Xian's words. Dragon King, save me. I don't want to be a mount forever. Suddenly, a voice rang in Wang Xian's ears. Upon hearing this voice, he was taken aback and looked at the sky halberd dragon horse that the young man was riding. Since a beast has been reduced to a mount, it must have the thoughts of a mount. Venerable Lu Shan stared at the heaven halberd dragon horse and a suppressive force enveloped it. Pa! The heaven-halberd dragon horse could not withstand the terrifying pressure, and knelt on the ground. Wang Xian swept his gaze across and squinted his eyes. Venerable Lu Shan, I wonder if your celestial halberd dragon horse is for sale? Heavenly halberd dragon horse. Upon hearing Wang Xian, Venerable Lu Shan raised an eyebrow. Dragon King, you won't even let us see the divine dragons of your dragon palace. And now you want to buy my heaven halberd dragon horse? The bloodline power of my mount, the heavenly halberd dragon horse, might be higher than the bloodline power of all the alternative dragons in your dragon palace. Before Venerable Lu Shan could continue, the young man beside him said coldly, Our dragon palace is not the heavenly dragon clan. All the members of our dragon palace are disciples of the dragon palace. We are not for people to admire, let alone trade. Wang Xian said plainly, Dragon King, to put it bluntly, your dragon palace is still far from the heavenly dragon tribe. Venerable Lu Shan said with a smile on his face. There was a tinge of sarcasm in his smile. I don't know if the dragon palace is comparable to the heavenly dragon clan. However, the fact that the heavenly dragon clan sends their own clansmen to others as mounts shows that they are mediocre. Wang Xian said with a tinge of sarcasm. Dragon King, the heavenly dragon clan is a friend of our ancient painting sect. Their strength isn't something that your dragon palace can compare to. Don't criticize others. Venerable Lu Shan retracted his smile and reminded. So what if I criticize them? Isn't that the way it is? It's shameful for a primary race in the universe to send their own clansmen to be slaves. Wang Xian shook his head sarcastically with disdain in his eyes. As a primary race in the universe, even the human race, which had the largest population, wouldn't send their own clansmen to be slaves. The heavenly dragon clan still dared to call themselves the divine dragon lineage. This was a disgrace to the divine dragon clan. Hee Dragon King. That's because you don't know the current situation of the divine dragon lineage in the universe. Don't tell me you still think that the current divine dragon lineage is the pure-blooded divine dragon that once stood at the pinnacle of the universe? You can't have such arrogance. Your dragon palace is just an ordinary primary race in the universe. Venerable Lu Shan chuckled. As they conversed, the tension between them gradually rose. How many of the current divine dragon lineage are real dragons? The divine dragon lineage is just an ordinary race in the universe. Now isn't the time to be immersed in the glory of the past. We have to look at the reality. The young man riding on the heavenly halberd dragon horse said coldly. Our Dragon King is talking to Venerable Lu Shan. What right do you, an Emperor God expert, have to interrupt? Prime Minister Turtle looked at the young man and stared at him coldly. I am. Shut up. The young man wanted to continue speaking, but Prime Minister Turtle shook his aura and charged at him with the aura of a venerable. Venerable Lu Shan squinted his eyes and said coldly, Dragon King, what's the meaning of this? Are you trying to make an enemy out of our ancient painting sect? As he spoke, a chilling aura surged from his body. Since you are here to visit our dragon palace, be a good guest. Don't be arrogant, and don't put the rules of the outside in our place. Those who aren't qualified should not interrupt when we are talking. Don't you understand the rules? Wang Xian looked at Venerable Lu Shan from ancient painting sect, and swept his gaze across all of them. When the young man heard Wang Xian, his expression changed drastically. It seems like the Dragon King doesn't welcome us. It seems like the Dragon Palace doesn't take our ancient painting sect seriously either. Venerable Dragon Mountain said plainly, Why should I take you seriously? Enemies are enemies and friends are friends. Wang Xian stood up and said plainly, alright. Since we can't be friends, forget it. Let's go. Venerable Lu Shan stood up slowly and burst into laughter. TSK. The young man and a few middle-aged and old men snorted and followed closely behind. So what you mean is that you want to make an enemy out of our dragon palace? Wang Xian asked plainly as he looked at their backs. That will depend on the dragon palace's choice. Don't be too arrogant. Venerable Dragon Mountain sneered without even turning his head. The choice of our dragon palace? Wang Xian chuckled, and looked at Prime Minister Turtle. "Dragon King, let's become enemies then." Prime Minister Turtle said plainly, and waved his hand. Chapter 31-24. Our Dragon Palace has made our choice. With Tianjin in the lead, 20 universe supremacies stood at the front and stared at Venerable Lu Shan and the rest calmly. Venerable Lu Shan's eyes narrowed when he saw Tianjin and the rest. He sized them up and his expression changed drastically. "What are you trying to do? You Dragon Palace better know what's good for you." Beside him, the group of middle-aged and old men were infuriated when they saw Tianjin and the rest. Didn't you let us choose? Why would we choose to be enemies with you? Of course we have to kill you. Orochi looked at all of them mockingly. Tianjin waved his arm and started to set up the array. Since he had decided to take action, he would leave the other party here forever. Upon hearing Orochi, Venerable Lu Shan's expression changed drastically. He turned his head immediately and stared at Wang Xian. "Do you know what the Dragon Palace is doing?" Wang Xian looked at him quietly without a word. "The Dragon Palace is courting death." Seeing Wang Xian's silence, he sensed that Tianjin was setting up the array behind him. With a roar, he grabbed the group beside him and dashed forward. Rumble, rumble, rumble! The moment he dashed out, the group of 20 universe supremacies from the Dragon Palace moved. The mighty aura belonging to the supremacies sealed off the surroundings. Tianjin waved his arm, and waves of horrifying energy shrouded him. "Lushan Island!" Venerable Lushan roared. The island not far away in front of him emitted an earthy yellow radiance and flew towards them rapidly. How dare a rank 2 universe supremacy act so arrogantly in our Dragon Palace? How dare you look down on us? Today we'll annihilate you. Emosha roared. The 10 Dragon Palace experts looked at the Lushan Island and flew over. Rumble, rumble, rumble. The combined forces of the 10 of them were enough to fight against a rank 2 universe supremacy. Waves of horrifying energy bombarded the Lushan Island. It was a powerful acquired spiritual treasure. What? They are actually all universe supremacies. The group of middle-aged and old men from the ancient painting sect and the young man were horrified when they felt the horrifying aura. All of them were venerables. The Dragon Palace had more than 20 universe supremacies who actually possessed such terrifying strength. Buzz! At this moment, Wang Xian disappeared instantly. Since they had started, Wang Xian would never allow them to leave. With the appearance of the unparalleled sacred wings, Huang Xiaowang, who now had 8 lightning feathers, increased his speed slightly, but his current speed was comparable to a third-order venerable. Bam! Before Venerable Lord Lu Shan could react, he sensed a terrifying force landing on him. Not good. His expression changed drastically, and his eyes were filled with fear. Pooh! He spat out a large mouthful of blood, and his forehead was instantly covered in cold sweat. He started to panic. Dragon eyes lock everywhere. Wang Xian bellowed and sealed the area with layers of seals. With the help of the heavenly formation and Wang Xian, the 2 of them already possessed the strength to kill someone of the same level. With the 2 of them working together, they could even escape from a third-order venerable. Now that they had joined hands to deal with the level 2 universe venerable, and there were 20 Dragon Palace venerable level members surrounding him, it was simply too easy. Given the current situation, he couldn't even react in time to his own attack. The chains bound him in an instant. Wang Xian held onto one end of the chains, and his eyes were filled with coldness and ridicule. Walala! Venerable Lu Shan, who was restrained by the chains, struggled violently. He stared at Wang Xian with widened eyes and said, "Dragon King, we don't have much enmity between us. Why did you kill him? There isn't much hatred, but don't be so arrogant when you come to our Dragon Palace. Speak nicely, and our Dragon Palace will treat you well. You asked us if we wanted to be enemies with you, and we chose to be enemies with you. You made us choose, so you have to bear the consequences." With a wave of his arm, the heavenly halberd dragon horse, which was lying on the ground in a daze, was chained to the side. "Thank you, Dragon King. Thank you, Dragon King." The heavenly halberd dragon horse immediately knelt down and thanked him. We We can give this heaven halberd dragon horse to you, Dragon King. Let us go. After you let us go, our ancient painting sect will definitely not pursue the matter with the Dragon Palace. Venerable Lu Shan swallowed a mouthful of saliva and said fearfully, Is that even possible? Since I've already made my move, there's no other way. Wang Xian shook his head slowly. Walala. As soon as he finished his sentence, the chains shrunk rapidly. Arg. Tragic cries came from their mouths. No, don't kill me. Do you know who I am? I'm the grandson of the ancient painting sect's sect leader. Don't kill me. Feeling the threat of death, the young man roared with a face full of horror. Sky Formation. Keep an eye on them in case they have any secret treasures that can allow them to escape. Wang Xian looked at them coldly as he spoke to Sky Formation. Yes, Dragon King. Sky Formation nodded his head and set up layers of arrays. He even formed a curse array. Dragon Palace, if you kill us, our ancient painting sect will definitely not let you off. You have to consider this carefully. Venerable Lu Shan shouted sternly. Wang Xian waved his arm, and a grayish force shrouded all of them. No. The group of young middle-aged and old men screamed in despair. They had followed their vice sect leader out this time with the mindset of having fun. There were no forces in the Milky Way that were a match for their ancient painting sect. Therefore, they had always been proud. However, they had never expected the Dragon Palace to lay their hands on them and want to annihilate all of them. They didn't want to die. They were the core disciples of the ancient painting sect and had a strong background. But soon, their screams came to an abrupt end. Venerable Lu Shan's body trembled and lost all signs of life. A level 2 universe Venerable lost his life here because of his arrogance. Wang Xian swept his gaze across and handed the corpses to the members of the Dragon Palace. With a wave of his arm, the 5 elements grindstone flew out and devoured Lu Shan Island. He looked to the side and saw the heavenly halberd dragon horse lying on the ground in awe. Upon seeing Wang Xian's gaze, it lowered its head subconsciously. Follow me into the Dragon Palace and become a disciple of the Dragon Palace in the future. Wang Xian said to it. The main reason why Wang Xian made a move to keep Venerable Lu Shan and the rest here was because of the heavenly halberd dragon horse. When Wang Xian first saw it, he immediately thought of a dragon. Halberd Dragon Guard. The error-free chapters of the Invincible Divine Dragon Cultivation System will continue to be updated on the mobile game bar. There will be no advertisements on the website. Please collect and recommend the mobile game bar. Please collect those who like the Invincible Divine Dragon Cultivation System. Invincible Divine Dragon Cultivation System. Chapter 3125. The halberd dragon guards were once the most balanced dragon species in the Dragon Palace. In the Divine Dragon heritage, the halberd dragon guard was one of the main peak dragon species in the Dragon Palace. He wasn't as strong as a berserk dragon, nor did he have the long-range attacks of an arrow dragon, nor did he have the terrifying defense of a royal dragon. However, in terms of attack, defense, and long range, they were very balanced. The halberd dragon guard was a position within the Dragon Palace. In reality, they were the descendants of the heavenly halberd dragon warrior. At that time, the halberd dragon guards were a powerful guardian army of the Dragon Palace. The heavenly halberd dragon horse in front of him only possessed a small amount of the halberd dragon guard's bloodline. However, the main reason was that the divine dragon blood in its bloodline was too thin and had too many impurities. If he were to enter the dragon pool to cleanse his bloodline, he could evolve into a heavenly halberd dragon warrior. Once he advanced to become a heavenly halberd dragon warrior, he would be able to fight opponents 3 ranks higher than him. This was secondary. The most important thing was that the Dragon Palace now had another peak-level dragon species. The patrolling Yikshaws of the Dragon Guard division could also evolve into halberd dragon guards. The Dragon Guardian and Roving Yiksha had followed Wang Xian all the way from Earth. However, their combat strength was at the bottom of the entire Dragon Palace. As an important army of the Dragon Palace, Roving Yiksha and the rest urgently needed to evolve into a powerful dragon species. The halberd dragon guards were the best choice. Thank you, Dragon King. Thank you, Dragon King. The heavenly halberd dragon horse bowed to Wang Xian with excitement. When you join the Dragon Palace in the future, you don't have to kneel to anyone except the Dragon King and Dragon Queen. No one will be able to make you kneel. We are the divine dragon race, the pinnacle existences of the universe. Prime Minister Turtle said to the heavenly halberd dragon horse. Yes, yes. The heaven halberd dragon horse nodded heavily. Come, let's go and call Ao Yiksha and the others over. As Wang Xian spoke, he brought the heavenly halberd dragon horse into the Dragon Palace. With the bloodline of the heavenly halberd dragon horse, he could easily pass the dragon gate. Wang Xian immediately brought him to the dragon transformation pool. There was not much dragon blood in the dragon transformation pool, but there was the corpse of Venerable Lu Shan. His corpse was enough for the Dragon Palace to produce a few universe supremacies. Dragon King, is there a powerful dragon species in the Dragon Palace that we can switch to? At this time, Roving Yaksha and all the members of the Dragon Guard tribe flew over, their faces full of excitement. Wang Xian nodded his head with a smile as he gestured to the heavenly halberd dragon horse. Enter the dragon transformation pool and cultivate. With the majestic dragon blood, the bloodline deep within your body will be stimulated. Wang Xian ordered the heavenly halberd dragon horse. Yes, Dragon King. I Tianji will never forget your kindness. The heavenly halberd dragon horse kowtowed to Wang Xian and flew into the dragon transformation pool without hesitation. He looked at her with a smile. At the side, Roving Yaksha and the others were also waiting excitedly. Just as the heavenly halberd dragon horse entered the dragon transformation pool to evolve. Tens of thousands of light years away in the ancient painting sect, the life tablets of the vice sect master and the others shattered, causing an incomparably huge commotion. The location of the Dragon Palace has been locked down. I think it's time to test it out. At the same time, on a luxurious ship on the surface of the Milky Way, a group of people sat on two sides. In front of them was the image of the underwater Dragon Palace. I think this is a good thing for us. Didn't the Dragon Palace say that they want to recruit all draconic disciples? Didn't they say that they want to protect them? As they are of the divine dragon lineage, there will definitely be many draconic disciples who will seek refuge with them. As long as we guard the surrounding area, we can test the strength of the Dragon Palace and capture some draconic mounts. Hehe. The old man from the Nine Swords race who was sitting on the right said with a smile. Indeed, based on the information we received, the strength of the Dragon Palace shouldn't be too strong. The only unforeseen event is whether the Dragon Palace has more battle angels of the Venerable Realm. After all, the Crescent Moon Venerable was the pinnacle expert on our side, a rank 3 universe Venerable. The old man from the dragon race on the right nodded. Both of them were universe Venerables. In order to deal with the Dragon Palace, and to find out some information, the two major races had given their all. Moreover, each race had sent out 3 universe Venerables for this operation. This force was definitely a terrifying existence. There should be very few battle angels of the Venerable Realm. An old man from the Nine Swords race guessed. It won't be long before we find out how many there are. Let's play with them. The Venerables from the two major races exchanged glances, their eyes filled with coldness. The two major races had decided that they wouldn't rest until the Dragon Palace was destroyed. Hide in the surroundings. Once a draconic disciple enters the volcano region, capture it immediately. The two major races gave their orders, and the luxurious ships gradually concealed themselves in the ocean. Let's go. As long as we join the Dragon Palace, we will receive its protection. Days passed, and the Dragon Palace officially stepped onto the stage of the Milky Way. The information on the universe AI about the Dragon Palace had attracted the attention of many draconic disciples. When they saw the information, some of them were excited. Given the current situation of the draconic disciples, once they were discovered, they would be captured as mounts or killed for their pure dragon blood to be extracted. They couldn't even protect themselves. Now that there was a powerful divine dragon lineage in the Milky Way, many draconic disciples had decided to join them. The Milky Way was huge. Even if there were fewer draconic disciples, there were still thousands of them. Some draconic disciples flew towards the Milky Way volcano region. However, before they reached the volcano region, they attracted the attention of others. The Nine Swords race and the Dragon Descendant race. It was extremely easy for these two races to monitor a region, with the experts from the two major races taking action. Some draconic disciples were suppressed before they could reach the volcano region. Even though these draconic disciples were suppressed, they didn't attract any attention, and no one noticed them. Let's go, little sister. The Dragon Palace's territory is just ahead. As long as we join the Dragon Palace, we won't have to worry anymore. Half a month later, a man and a woman were traversing through the Milky Way sea. The man and woman had the body of a human, but they had dragon horns on their heads, which added a sense of majesty to them. Their eyes were filled with vigilance. "All right, big brother." A young voice sounded from the side, looking around in panic. They were weak. The woman hadn't even reached the God Emperor realm, and the man was only a first-order God Emperor. Luckily, the powerful desolate beasts in the surrounding sea have been cleared by the Dragon Palace. Otherwise, we might not have been able to reach here. The young man spoke in a low voice as he flew forward with his little sister. Wung wung. Suddenly, the dragon horn on the young man's head shone brightly, and it trembled. Not good. The young man's expression changed, and he quickly grabbed his little sister's arm, shouting, "Run, run immediately." Yes, the girl's face turned pale, and she didn't dare to stay any longer. The young man beside her also wanted to return to his god kingdom. Chapter 31:26. Brother. At the bottom of the Milky Way, a woman with dragon horns on her head shouted as she saw her brother being shrouded by the pressure. Her brother's escape was interrupted. Tisk tsk tsk. Another two lesser dragons. At this moment, she saw a figure flying towards them at high speed. Soon after, her figure disappeared. When she reappeared, she was back in her own god kingdom. No, brother. Sensing her own god kingdom, she hurriedly flew outside. Beside her was her brother's god kingdom. When she entered, she realized that her brother was not there. Her face turned pale instantly. No, brother. She shook her head in despair as tears flowed from her eyes. However, she quickly wiped her tears, took out the universe AI, and frantically sent out messages. Ha, this is already more than 40 lesser dragons. This is equivalent to our harvest of 10,000 years. At the same time, a middle-aged man from the dragon race said excitedly in the vicinity of the Milky Way volcano domain. Now, in just half a month, the dragon descendants had captured more than 40 drakes. In the current Milky Way, the dragon race only had the opportunity to capture one lesser dragon every few hundred years. A lesser dragon would be of great use to them. It could greatly enhance their bloodline. If they used the bloodline of these lesser dragons to nurture their core disciples, they might be able to nurture a genius who could fight beyond their level and be comparable to Long Zitian. This is just the harvest of the dragon race. The Nine Swords race should have gained quite a lot too. This time, the Dragon Palace has announced that they are protecting the lesser dragons. This is really a good thing for us. An old man beside him said with a smile. After we investigate the background of the Dragon Palace and destroy them, we will be able to obtain a large amount of dragon blood. By then, there will be dragon blood of the universe supremacy level. With that dragon blood, the dragon race might be able to improve tremendously. If the Dragon Palace has a purebred divine dragon, our dragon race might be able to improve further. The middle-aged man said with a smile. How can there be a purebred divine dragon? In the entire universe, only the experts of the divine dragon race that have reached the mid-level of the universe have purebred divine dragons. There shouldn't be any in other places. Forget about the purebred divine dragon. The old man shook his head. Let's go. Yes. The middle-aged man nodded. The eyes of the young man with the dragon horn who was restrained by them were wide open, and his eyes were filled with astonishment. The dragon descendants wanted to destroy the Dragon Palace, and according to their information, the Nine Swords race was also involved. How could this be? A look of despair appeared on the youth's face. Time passed little by little. Within the Dragon Palace, Tianji's Heaven Halberd Dragon Warrior bloodline was dug out. With a huge amount of dragon blood, it allowed him to break through to the universe's venerable realm. The Dragon Palace also had one more peak-level dragon species. Following that, roving Wuxia and the others from the Dragon Guard tribe entered the dragon transformation pool excitedly to improve themselves. Wang Xian watched from the side with a smile. Currently, the patrolling strength of the Dragon Palace was indeed the weakness of the Dragon Palace. After roving Wuxia and the rest evolved into the Halberd Dragon Guards, the Dragon Palace had improved tremendously. Dragon King, something has happened. At this moment, Prime Minister Turtle quickly walked over with a frown. What happened? Seeing Prime Minister Turtle's reaction, Wang Xian frowned and asked. A sky dragon species has sent a large number of private messages to the Dragon Palace. Moreover, there's a video on the Universe AI that has caused quite a stir. As Prime Minister Turtle spoke, he opened the Universe AI and displayed an image before Wang Xian. A girl with dragon horns on her head appeared on the screen with an anxious and pale face. My brother and I wanted to join the Dragon Palace. However, we were attacked by experts along the way. My brother has been captured. I beg the experts of the Dragon Palace to help me rescue my brother. I beg the experts of the Dragon Palace. As the girl spoke, she knelt on the ground with tears streaming down her face. When Wang Xian saw the video, his face darkened immediately. His eyes were beaming with frenzied killing intent. Dragon King, we can confirm that this girl is from the Sky Dragon lineage. She has sent a lot of private messages to the Dragon Palace, saying that she was attacked when she was near the volcano region. The other party was obviously ambushing them there. Prime Minister Turtle continued to explain to Wang Xian. Have you replied to her? Wang Xian asked with a solemn face. Dragon King, we have contacted that girl and received her reply. Prime Minister Turtle said. Contact her and get her to tell us where she is. Wang Xian squinted his eyes. Yes, Dragon King. I'm going to get someone to pick her up. Prime Minister Turtle replied. The Turtle Minister replied. After pondering for a moment, he continued. Dragon King, it has been more than half a month since we announced the recruitment and protection of the Flood Dragons. However, not a single person with the Flood Dragon bloodline has come. Something must have happened. I suspect that someone is making use of the news of us recruiting Sky Dragons and is capturing them. Wang Xian nodded. After all, the Dragon Palace has reached the strength of a primary race in the universe. Those who dare to go against us should be those few forces. As he spoke, he already had a guess in his heart. Before the Dragon Palace fully displayed its strength, the other primary races in the universe shouldn't offend the Dragon Palace over a few Sky Dragons. If there were any primary races in the universe that had made a move, it would be the Dragon lineage and the Nine Swords race. These two races should have known that he was from the Dragon Palace. Get Tianjin, Roving Yao Maozisan, Roving Sword and the rest over. I'll go over personally this time. Wang Xian was filled with murderous intent as he ordered Prime Minister Turtle. Yes, Dragon King. Prime Minister Turtle nodded. Soon Tianjin, Roving Yao and the rest arrived. Let's go and pick someone up. Then we'll investigate. As he spoke, he moved and the few of them flew out. At the same time, the video of the girl was causing a huge commotion in the Milky Way. It can't be. Someone is making use of the news of the Dragon Palace, protecting the Sky Dragons to capture them. This is clearly going against the Dragon Palace. Gosh, going against the Dragon Palace? The Dragon Palace is a primary race in the universe. Although their strength is still unknown, they can sell so many battle angels. They shouldn't be weak. Who would be so daring? Could it be the work of other races in the universe? Under the video of the girl, there were all kinds of replies and speculations. The Dragon Palace said that they would protect the Sky Dragons. In the end, someone was capturing them around the volcano region. This was a slap to the Dragon Palace's face. Chapter 3127. Within the Milky Way, on the universe's AI, a video of a wyvern caused quite a stir. Because there were many topics about the Dragon Palace recently, the discussion about this matter was also unusually lively. Not long after that woman's video, another message caused a huge uproar. An old man who claimed to be a draconic dragon said that he wanted to go to the Dragon Palace to check on the situation, but was ambushed and attacked by the experts of the Nine Swords race. Fortunately, he reacted quickly and escaped the attack. According to his introduction, the one who attacked him was a peak-level god king. When the news spread, it caused quite a shock. Is this information real or fake? The Nine Swords race is capturing flood dragons around the volcano region. Are they trying to become enemies with the Dragon Palace? The race of the Nine Swords has always been hunting wyverns. This information is indeed possible. SSS, if that's true, will the Dragon Palace start a war with the Nine Swords tribe? The establishment of every primary race in the universe will cause a war. The Dragon Palace might really start a war with the Nine Swords race. On the universe AI, countless people were discussing in shock. At the same time, on a slightly backward planet next to the Milky Way, in a small village, a woman was anxiously walking in the courtyard. Her face was filled with anxiety and unease. Buzz. At this moment, Wang Xian Tianjin and the rest appeared above and looked at the lady. Hello, I'm the Dragon King of Dragon Palace. Wang Xian and the rest landed in front of the lady and spoke plainly. Seeing the sudden appearance of Wang Xian, she was shocked. She looked at them from head to toe, and immediately knelt down. Dragon King, please save my brother. My brother has been captured. Get up. Wang Xian looked at the girl and sighed. With a wave of his arm, he helped her up. What's your name? Wang Xian asked. Dragon King, my name is Jiao Jiao, and my elder brother is Horned Dragon. The girl stood up and said, You have something on your brother, right? Give it to me. I'll find out where he is. Tianjin said. Don't worry, we will help you find your brother. Wang Xian assured him. Even if he died, the Dragon Palace would be able to save him. Thank you, Dragon King, thank you, Dragon King. Jiao Jiao quickly expressed her gratitude. Big Brother's Divine Kingdom is here. I will take you there. Divine Kingdom is even better. Tianjin nodded his head. Soon, Wang Xian and the rest followed Jiao Jiao into her brother's holy kingdom. Tianjin waved his arm and began to set up a formation. At the side, Jiao Jiao's eyes were filled with anticipation as she sensed Tianjin's terrifying aura. When the Dragon Palace completely annihilated the remnants of the Inkhang clan, the heavenly formation obtained the witchcraft of the entire Inkhang clan. His current witchcraft foundation was not weak at all. As soon as the formation was set up, an image quickly appeared. In the image was a young man who was imprisoned. Around the young man, can you lock onto his position? Wang Xian asked. The Dragon Palace is a bit troublesome. He should be in a secret place where the array can't detect him. Even with my strength, I can't find it. Then it can only be the nests of a few primary races in the universe. Tianjin said with a slight frown. His words made Jiao Jiao's face turn pale. Can you lock onto their approximate location? Wang Xian asked. Let me try. Tianjin squinted his eyes, and a black book appeared in his hand. Words floated in the air and began to assemble. Finally, a hazy image appeared in his mind. The image was very blurry. Tianjin's eyes flickered. There's only a weak image. We sent it to Prime Minister Turtle and got him to send someone to search for it. It shouldn't take long for them to find it. All right. Wang Xian nodded his head and looked at Jiao Jiao. Don't worry. The Dragon Palace will rescue your brother safely. Follow us to the Dragon Palace first. Yes, Dragon King. Jiao Jiao nodded her head heavily. Wang Xian waved his arm and kept her in the mother nest. The few of them moved and disappeared instantly. They returned to the Dragon Palace. Dragon King, there's new news on the artificial intelligence system. An expert suspected to be a sky dragon sent a message on the artificial intelligence system. He said that he was attacked by the Nine Swords race when he was rushing to the Dragon Palace. Prime Minister Turtle came over to report when Wang Xian and the rest arrived. The Nine Swords race. Wang Xian squinted his eyes and murderous intent flashed in them. Prime Minister Turtle, help her settle down. He waved his arm and released Jiao Jiao. Jiao Jiao looked around the dragon palace and opened her mouth slightly. Don't worry about your brother. We'll rescue him in a few days. You can rest in the dragon palace now, Prime Minister Turtle said to her. Thank you, thank you. Jiao Jiao nodded her head. Tianjun, gather all the universe supremacies of the dragon palace. We'll check the surroundings of the volcanic domain. I want to see if it's the 9 swords and dragon descendants. As Wang Xian spoke, he flew out directly. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Soon, all the universe supremacies of the dragon palace flew out with murderous intent in their eyes. In the dragon palace, Jiao Jiao's jaw dropped when she saw so many universe supremacies of the dragon palace. Dragon King, how dare they capture a sky dragon near our dragon palace? They have no respect for our dragon palace. Let's declare war on them. I want to see who will be the one killing who. After flying out of the dragon palace, the leaders of the dragon palace bellowed with murderous intent. Let's rescue those sky dragons first, Wang Xian said coldly as he flew towards the periphery of the volcanic domain. Wang. When he arrived at the periphery of the volcanic domain, Wang Xian waved his arm. The crescent moon hovered in the sky and surveyed the situation. At the same time, at the bottom of the Milky Way, a group of middle-aged and old men sat on a ship. Suddenly, the old man in the middle narrowed his eyes and stared at the glowing red ball in front of him. Someone is monitoring the situation over here. He stood up and said immediately, it should be the Dragon Palace. Now that the Sky Dragon on the Universe AI has spread the news over here, get ready. Let's check out the strength of the Dragon Palace. The old man in the middle said, send the news to the dragon descendants. An old man beside him said, they were all universe supremacies of the 9 Swords race. Hunting the sky dragons was secondary. Their main goal was to test the strength of the Dragon Palace. It's a pity to be discovered so early. I still want to hunt more sky dragons. The universe supremacy of the 9 Swords on the right shook his head and said with disappointment, haha, as long as we can annihilate the Dragon Palace, will we be short of sky dragons? The 2 universe supremacies of the 9 Swords race laughed eerily. The error-free chapters of the Invincible Divine Dragon Cultivation System will continue to be updated on Qingdou. There will be no advertisements on the website. Please collect and recommend Qingdou. Please collect if you like Invincible Divine Dragon Cultivation System. Invincible Divine Dragon Cultivation System updates the fastest. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.